You're listening to Without a Brief, a Red Bow House podcast where we talk branding, business, visibility, identity, and the women behind the work. I'm your host, Jasmine Sotiropoulos. Let's get into it.
Okay, here we are, long awaited. I have been so excited to talk to you. Welcome to the podcast. It's lovely to have you. I guess what I want you to tell us is everything about yourself, obviously. But let's just start off with the basics. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you're about.
Yeah, awesome. So first of all, thank you for having me. I'm very much excited about this chit chat too. And I feel like viewers are going to get listeners are going to get a lot out of this conversation and kind of be shocked by some of the stats that I plan to share with you. I'm Tatum. I'm from the Social Dog Company. So I'm a marketing strategist specifically for pet brands. It was such an underserviced industry. We've got, bodies for or specialized marketing and business hubs for the fitness industry, the health industry, tech stuff, and no one was doing it in the pet industry, I'll just say as a whole. And so I saw a gap in that. And so I help businesses fix their revenue, create demand for their services and their products, and then build leverage on top of that so they can build profitable businesses as they should.
Amazing. Yeah. And I found it so interesting. Like stumbling across what you do, I was like, okay, so that's super niche, but I think it's so underrated that like how big the industry is. It's basically the baby industry in my eyes, but for pets, because of so many of us are like opting out of having children. Our pets are our babies now. And I very much feel that to my core. I'm one of those people, I'm like, they're my babies. This is who I travel with. This is everything. So how did you kind of go, I see this gap and I'm about to fill it?
Yeah. So my business actually happened before I did the marketing strategy side of things. So the Social Dog Company was born essentially from a dog that I unknowingly got from a puppy mill. So I was suffering from mental health issues. I was living alone and someone was like, hey, get a dog. And I was like, yes, I want a certain breed. I want a dachshund. I want a puppy, all that stuff that people kind of go towards when they get their first dog. And people are like, no, go rescue. And I was like, no, no, no. And so I got this dog and basically, it was from a puppy mill and it was a bag of bones. It was very, very sick. And so from that moment, that was like oh my God, I'm in love with rescue and shelter advocacy,
Right.
foster adopting, all of that stuff. So that's where I got my attachment to the pet industry or dogs and advocating for them. And so I turned that into an events business and it was fundraising for rescue organizations. Obviously, it was a business too. I'd get partnerships, sponsorships, all of that stuff. And it was doing extremely well, like really big brands, even from America, like Tito's Vodka. It's in all the Kardashians and the reality shows. And it's a massive brand. Even they sponsored me to host these events because they saw a way of with a whole market, which is the pet industry, right? So I connected with all these amazing brands. They paid me to host events for them to make their brands seem more dog friendly because it's a whole market in themselves, pet owners, right? Dog owners specifically.
Absolutely.
COVID hit and then I lost the whole business, had to go back to corporate again, so depressed. But, when we have entrepreneurial hearts, it's I think that's part of the depression as well, is we've lost our purpose because we're working and we're building something for somebody else and it's usually not aligned. So I was working with franchise gyms. So, I'm into the gym, but the pets are my thing. So eventually I kind of lost everything at one stage, including a fiance 3 months before my wedding.
Okay.
I lost my dog in the same week. I had just been redundant from this other job. And so I literally had $10 to my name. So this is at 35. This is that shameful spiral of you're like, oh my God, no one's coming to save me and I need to sort my life out. So then I got a job at the Balinese Animal Welfare Association in Bali. So I took off to Bali and that's where I live now. It wasn't everything it was. I couldn't help the way I wanted to. Let's just say that there was lots of roadblocks. So that's how the Social Dog Company was born, because I was like, there's no one servicing the pet industry. It's a $300 billion plus industry.
Wow.
And
Yeah. Okay.
before, society norms have completely changed. A lot of women are either having children later in life because they've got their careers and we're not relying on other people to fund our dreams.
Yep.
And so we're building things for ourselves, which means we're having babies later, or we're opting, like maybe yourself and myself, we're opting not to have children ever or as yet. So we go the pet ownership route. And so there's this industry that's going to just like triple, quadruple over the next
Yes.
coming years. And nobody's helping these pet businesses actually be profitable. Because here's the thing, most of them start a business because they got a dog or a cat or some kind of animal which they solved a problem for, saw a gap, and created a business out of it with no actual business expertise. So it's a lot of the
Yeah.
time a passion, but they just don't know the business side of things. So that's
Yeah.
where I came into it, and I still come into it.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. So, I mean, that makes complete sense. And that's the thing is the stats that people just don't realize. And I guess because it almost feels like something so joyous that it feels like a hobby. So it's like, oh, should I even take this seriously? Or is it just like a craft project that I'm going to sell at a market? There's still that mentality and it's so backwards. And it's like, no, people are willing to pay for their pets exactly the same way they're willing to pay for their kids. Here's a question though. I find it absolutely insulting how much leaning towards dogs it is and not cats because I'm a cat mom, right? So why? Tell me why.
Like, you know what? That's generally a question that I can't answer because it is usually like team dogs or team cats. I am
It
a
really
team
is.
dog because I feel just from my first animal that I had actually before a dog was a cat. And so I had her for like 12 years. So that was amazing. But I guess cats kind of pick and choose when they want to be around you. And some of them can be a little spicy. I'm needy. I want you on my lap. I want
Right.
you in my space. I want you in bed. I want you to be like celebrating when I get home. So maybe it's more of a I need validation inside myself. So I choose a dog. Not that dogs can't be like that. I mean,
Yeah,
ironically,
yeah.
the first dog I fostered, I ended up keeping as well, right? Her name was Candy, which is hilarious. I think like
She's a little
strippers all
stripper.
way.
I love it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She was this big chunky like cross staffy thing, and I was like, no, no, no. So her name was Rosie, and she's passed away now. But she was 8 years old, and when I got her, um, oh my God, I just had a brain freeze. Where was I going with that? What was I saying before that?
You were saying like the neediness and she I think you
Yeah,
was
so
yeah,
ironically,
yeah.
sorry, guys, I have ADHD. A lot
Oh,
of you people
we're all
listening,
neurodivergent here. I feel like
exactly. So
everyone
it
I've
happens
spoken
to
to on my
all of us.
podcast is we get it. We get it. These are my
Yeah.
girls.
Yeah. So I got this, I ended up with this foster dog who I absolutely fell in love with. And to be honest, she scared the shit out of me because I'd never had like such a staunch dog. And it was like, oh, is she going to like attack the other dogs? But she ended up being like the mama bear the whole time. But she was not needy at all. And she would not sit on my lap and she would not like curl up me in bed. And she would like sit across the room and just look at me. And it was just like, I got a dog because I wanted that companionship. And
Yeah,
ironically,
and she's
I
like,
got a
"No
dog.
thanks."
No, thanks. This is my space. That's your space. You stay in yours. I'll stay in mine. Thanks for having me.
There you go.
Just speak
Speaking
to me.
of which, this is my needy girl, and I made a video about her recently because she has to be involved when I'm doing something, always.
You know what? And I do Zooms with my clients, and as soon as they get on, it's like the animal's just like, "Hey, we're here. Like,
Yep,
giving someone else
absolutely.
attention. We're over here." It's hilarious.
So, I mean, I'm sorry that, yeah, cats aren't as needy. And I guess maybe as well in the business, like it's definitely better as a business to market to dog owners, not just because, like a stat of, maybe there's more, but more the fact that, like, I feel like cats are way less maintenance. Like, you don't have to do a whole lot to keep a cat safe and healthy, whereas dogs need everything so
They
much.
They
Yeah.
do. They require a higher level of care. Absolutely. And, there's definitely, this whole cat shows and things like that. So the cat industry is like equally as big. And it's not that I don't work with cat businesses. It's just predominantly, I think I've attracted dog business. But there's a cat, there's a couple of cat raw feeders that I have as clients, or, a groomer yesterday that I just onboarded. She grooms cats and dogs. So they're still there.
Yeah.
It's just like not their primary focus, I guess,
No,
because for
and
them,
to be
they're
fair,
expensive.
like I was telling you, I had this frame of time that I was doing. I had in total 10 different businesses, or maybe even more, that were just pet in the pet industry. And it was like word of mouth, and it just spiraled from there. But it's always been dogs. Like no one has asked me to do any branding for a cat business. So, it speaks for itself. It speaks for itself.
It really does. And I actually don't know the stats. And it's something that I think after this, I would love to look into, as in what is dog ownership as compared to cat ownership. And maybe that
Absolutely.
might explain some things as well. But I
Yeah.
feel like they would be semi the same. How many cats do you
As
have,
well,
out of curiosity?
so we had two. We moved with two to Spain. So I don't know if you know that. I live in Spain. I think I've mentioned it.
Figured
But
that with the
we,
time difference when
yeah,
booking the, yeah.
yes. So we moved with two. Then this gorgeous, friendly cat came and like plopped herself in front of us constantly in the backyard. And she was super friendly, like would roll on her back to show that like I'm safe, I'm fine. Not like the other strays, because there are a lot of strays where I'm at, right? And even though we feed them all, this was the only one that was like, hi, I'm friend, I'm friend. And so we started slowly like really caring for her. We got her a collar like with an air tag so we could see where she is. Oh yeah.
Oh, did I lose you?
Yes, sir. No, 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 I'm still here.
Oh,
Can
you're
you hear
still
me?
there. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah. No, you're fine. So she was super friendly, and then turns out she was pregnant. We didn't know this. We had already fallen in love with her, and we're like, okay, we're gonna raise her kids for a little bit and then find them good homes. The kids came, there was 4 of them. So we fell in love, and now we have 7 cats. So that's long story short.
Wow, 7. See, and I think that's the thing. Yeah, cat people usually have more than one cat, where very few people have multiple dogs. They might have
Yeah.
2 or 3, but it tends to stop at that. Although I have some amazing rescue people here in Bali that have like 7 rescue dogs, and I'm just like,
Yeah. That's the
heaven.
dream. Someone really wants to get in touch with you. No, but can you see me when that happens? Are you good with it?
No, it pops out, but that's okay. So sorry, I thought I put this on mute.
No, you're okay.
Okay, yes, let's keep going.
It'll still ring through the Mac. That's the only thing. I have the same thing. So I'm like always, yeah,
Yeah, no, I've just
yeah.
told them to
You're
call back.
sorted?
All right. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So 7 cats, and you were saying, where were we? Wait, I've lost everything. Yeah.
No, you were just saying we were going on about cat ownership as opposed to
Yes,
dogs, and
the
so it's
stats.
stats around that. So I've just naturally gravitated towards dogs because
Yeah.
I prefer them. It's not that I don't like cats. It's just that I like the enthusiasm of a
There's
dog.
definitely a preference. There's definitely a
Yeah,
preference, and that's okay. Like there's,
yeah,
it's not for everyone, and
yeah,
vice versa. Like love me a dog if it's not mine, but if I think of looking after it, it just mind-boggling how much time and effort goes into it, and I
yeah,
could not.
yeah. And look, secretly, I love dogs, but puppies do my head in. I love them. I adore them. Give them to me for half an hour, maybe a couple of hours. But I would never get a puppy again, even if it was a rescue, because again, with like my ADHD autism, I get overwhelmed very easily. So if I have a
Yeah,
puppy that is destroying everything, that requires a lot of training and things like that, it overwhelms me and it takes away the joy of actually having a dog. So
absolutely.
my 2 dogs, other than the puppy mill dog that, I learnt my lesson
Yeah,
around that, was I got them when they were 8 and 10. So they were older, they were chilled, they slept a lot, like they didn't require a lot from me. So they kind of
it's
just
very
coexisted.
different.
I mean, obviously I still looked
Yeah,
after them and walked them, but it just required a different level of kind of ownership. So I will always go for like the golden oldies. And people go, oh, but that's so sad because you've only got a couple of years left with them. And I was like, yeah, but they're also the ones that nobody wants. And they deserve to
Yeah.
have like a really cool life. So I feel like there's a cat or a dog for everyone. It's just you need to really reflect on your lifestyle and what you
Yeah.
can give the animal as well. So
Yeah.
yeah. Go, oh, I want to bond with the puppy. Okay, that's cool. But do you know what comes with with a puppy?
It's a lot of responsibility. It really is. Like you're raising a baby and yeah. And I guess like we're carried away because we love animals, right? And we could talk about animals all day, but
Yep.
I want to
Yep.
hear the business end of things. Like
Yeah.
what have you learned in this journey? Like what's there, you know, what should people know?
What should people know? Something
Mm,
that I actually really love to talk about because it's something that I stumbled across going down rabbit holes researching the industry. Something that people don't really put two and two together is that the pet industry is heavily dominant, made up of females, right? Of women. So it's about
okay.
80% of the workforce within the pet industry is females. And so when you link females with passion, they started a business from a point of passion. So females, passion. And then across the world in every industry, there's usually about a between 14% to 22% pay gap. So that's just in every industry, right? So we're already aware of those things. Now, when you combined those three things together, this is something that really stood out to me was people are being underpaid because we've been conditioned to not expect money in return for passion. Globally, we're already underpaid and we're doing it for the love. So that's where at the beginning of the conversation, people go, oh, it's a hobby. Oh, do you actually get paid to do
Yeah.
that? Oh, I'd love to play with dogs all day. But the stats around the industry are just absolutely shocking. It's like, so I wrote some out, which I would love to actually share
Tell
with you,
us.
if that's
Yes.
okay. So in the pet industry, because we're females and we naturally overgive, and also the pet industry, because it's passionate, we're empathetic, we tend to gear towards animals. It's kind of like nursing, right? You're very empathetic and nurturing and things like that. So
Yeah.
it attracts
It
those
takes
types.
a certain type of person.
Right, right. And so these are things that people don't really think of. So you put that together and then you put burnout together because I specialize mainly in services. So, we're expected to overgive, work longer hours, passion fatigue, deal with things like euthanasia, end of life stuff, dealing with pet owners that are dealing with reactive dogs and you're already, mentally fried and at their wits' end. You're putting them with reactive dogs, so there's injuries and things like that. So there's actually like emotional burnout, physical burnout, and there's a lot of injuries that take place within the pet industry itself. Like even dog groomers, like you're bent over all day. So people don't think of that, and then you put not being paid correctly on top of that,
Yeah.
and it's just crazy. So it's like we're just expected to shut up and be paid whatever, we're conditioned to conditioned to
As
accept.
high as our like glass ceiling, like we put that limitation and
Right.
just run with it.
So the world already puts that expectation on our industry, but then people in the industry get conditioned to think that. So then they don't have the confidence to actually charge their worth. They're scared to raise their prices. They're scared they're going to, be attacked because of their prices. That happens a lot in veterinary care, working with reactive dogs, even in shelters and rescues. So a lot of workers, again, these are like 80% female dominated. So in vet nursing, 97% are females. 97%. That's
Okay. That's
insane,
insane.
right? Vets in Australia, compared to the men that are vets compared to the women, they are paid 44.4% less.
Okay. You
Let
know
that
what? What's funny as well is the men in the industry, every time I have had a male vet, he's been gay. So it's not a straight man thing regardless.
No,
Sorry, just
no,
like
no. And
I
we're
just
not here to hate
noticed
on men
that.
at all. That's not it. We're literally just looking at numbers and seeing what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
industry itself accepts, right?
Mhm,
Because there's no bodies
mhm.
advocating for these people. I mean, there could be, I'm sure there is, but I don't feel it's loud enough, and I don't feel
Yeah.
like it's moving fast
That's
enough.
insane though. They're crazy stats. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. So it's and this goes into, other from dog attacks with dog trainers that are doing reactivity work, groomers again, dogs biting and things like that. Also, there's a life period when it comes to the service industry as well. There's a small window because it's money in exchange for time. So you're going to get physically and mentally burnt out. So
Yeah.
I saw all of this and I acknowledge all of this. And I wanted to advocate that as a marketing strategist to come in and be like, you know what? I see you, I hear you, and you don't have to accept what's going on. So then
Yeah.
I built my services around not only supporting these people mentally. No, I'm not a mindset coach, but I can support them to raise their prices, to advocate for themselves, to position themselves so people see the value in what they're actually doing,
Yeah.
and they can package their services in a way that they're making more money without necessarily having to get more clients. So they can still have some kind of life, because a lot of it comes from the inner belief that we've been conditioned is, no, you're passionate, you should just do it for free, or you should do it for cheaper, right? Or yeah, like it's very
And
much
even
a
if people don't physically
internally.
say that, it's like ingrained and assumed. So it's not necessarily someone will straight out say, "Oh, you should be doing this for free," but it's like almost like, how dare you be charging for this? Like it's it really is like that. And I think as well, like going about it the way you do strategically with the facts, with the stats is so important, because sometimes it's really hard to get that perspective without that information. If you're kind of just like in the wind about it and just, I think this will work. But no, you're giving like all the right information. And then obviously whoever chooses not to listen to that, then that's fine. But I think what you're doing is so important, and especially hearing the stats about just how big the industry is when it comes to women being the leaders in this. And instead of sometimes like, having a struggle of, instead of owning it and being like, yeah, absolutely, we lead in this and this is how much we charge and this is how much it's worth,
Yeah,
there's misinformation.
yeah, 100%. And that a lot of people say, oh, but that's what Debbie down the road charges, or that's what the industry charges, or oh, I can't charge that because of where I live and the service industry that I work in my local area. And that's where I also like to challenge people too, because a lot of the time we operate from limiting beliefs because we've been conditioned that way. Um, and so we take that on and we're like, oh, we can't. And it's like, we always can. So so it's all about positioning, which is something that I work on. So we look at their revenue and we make sure that first of all, that they're charging what they're worth. And then we package up their services so we can actually sell them profitably without burnout. But people are like, well, I can't charge that much. And I was reading an article not so long ago, and it was in the New Yorker, and a groomer in New York is charging $1,000 USD for a groom, right? It's a specialty groom, but it's still a groom. Now, I'm like, if they can charge it, that means that it exists. It's real. They're charging it. People are paying. And they interviewed the customers, the clients, sorry, of this particular shop. So sometimes people just need to see right directly and have a mirror held up and be like, you say that you can't, but people are. So there's
Showing
proof.
you.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. Now, the difference between somebody that charges $80 for a groom and $1,000 is simply positioning and who they're targeting. So anyone can do that. You can still be in some kind of mining town where there's lots of money in mining towns, right? But I'm just going off this because I've spoken to somebody about this. And it's like,
It's
oh, no, but
relevant. It's yeah.
yeah, we're just like a little town. I'm like, yeah, but there's money in your town. Oh, yeah, but everybody else charges, X amount of dollars. It might be $80. And it's like, okay, cool. Just position yourself differently and go for the ones that actually want to spend the money. So it's like, go for the cavoodle owners, which require
Yeah.
more grooming, right? Rather than the
Yeah.
stuffies, which don't require, um, which don't require grooming as frequently. So be strategic, but also position yourself. Elevate your branding. Don't look so DIY. Adjust your services so they're more premium. It's not working harder, but how can you package an experience rather than just a service? So yeah, that's what I love doing, because they have aha
Brilliant.
moments where they're like, oh my God, yes, I can do this. I had an end of life pet photographer who, God bless her soul, she's a vet nurse, but end of life means basically, they're senior or they're due to cross the rainbow bridge. So people want these beautiful photographs to remember them by. Now, could you imagine the emotional weight in her job? Like, she has
Yeah.
to support the people, but also support and care for the dog. And it's a really sensitive time. So that's a lot of weight. Just by repositioning her and strengthening her branding, getting her in some articles and publications, she was able to more than double her pricing. But she was accepting less because she wasn't positioned as the
Yeah.
go-to, and she was
Yeah,
positioning.
again, seeing it as like, oh, poor thing, they need this service instead of, no, I'm a business and there are things that I have to pay for. There are things that I have to manage that no, are worth it. Like, are absolutely worth it. But I think this happens across so many industries, like this is a very huge generalization, right? But a lot of us don't understand positioning, don't understand the strategy behind anything we do. And what I would love to know is, how did you learn that? Like, for yourself, for your business, how did you learn that? What made you go, oh, wait a minute, I was thinking like a moron and now I'm not a moron. If you ever did. I know that's how I was. So you know what I
No,
mean? That's where I'm.
100%.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all do it. We all do it when we get into business. We undercharge because we want clients underneath our belt, and we're still learning the business game, right? So we're not all born into business and like flourishing. When I started my business, I was heavily undercharging. So I was a marketer, but I didn't know how to have a business. Yeah, I'd have other businesses, but again, I don't know, we all need mentorship, right? And so I was making
Yeah.
$800 a week. I was totally burnt out, severely undercharging because people were saying that they couldn't afford my services. And I was also desperate to make money at that time because I was just coming out of the relationship I told you, and I had $10 to my name, and I was trying to rebuild. But I was like working probably 60 hours a week for like $800. And I got myself a
Yeah.
mentor, right? And so she really helped me identify business models, because at that stage I didn't really understand business models, and your business model will reflect how scalable and profitable your business is, right? And also how much balance you have in your life. As business owners, we don't have balance, but we get more balance when we get business
That's a
model.
joke. No, but you
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get there. That's what you
So
build towards.
yeah, so that was point one. So then I changed my offering to look different so I could help more people, raise my prices, all of that stuff. So that was learning curve one. So business mentor. So I always recommend doing that. And that's why I essentially do that with my clients now as well. Um, and then the second one was, I learnt the hard way. When you're in your own business, sometimes you're too close to it. And so in my own business, I put out a program and it went really well for a while. But then I started attracting the wrong kind of people because I probably got a little bit lazy in my marketing because I was doing so well, right? And we're all guilty of doing that. And so the lesson was, it really does matter where you position yourself, how you brand yourself, how the words that you're using, the content that you're creating, on who you attract. So when I changed that and I was like, okay, I've been putting this off too long. I'm aware of my own problem. I've outgrown some of my own clients as well. I think, as entrepreneurs and you're a go-getter yourself, we're really driven. So we're always educating ourselves. We're always like doing stuff, reaching for the stars. You've started a podcast, like all these amazing things and applying ourselves. We outgrow a lot of our own clients as well. So we want to
Yes.
solve bigger and more strategical problems, which means a different target audience. So I
I
think
think being neurospicy as well, like we love a challenge. We're like, oh, let's figure this one out, So when something just becomes mundane, we're like, oh, it's not fun anymore. Do I even want this?
yeah, we want to be challenged and we genuinely want to help people. So we love solving, we're problem solvers because we can spot patterns really freaking
Yeah.
well. um, so yeah, and then the second one, so the second one was I realized that I had outgrown some of my clients, which feels really uncomfortable to say sometimes because I love those clients and they were some of my first clients and I am so grateful for them because they believed in me when I was just getting started. But I couldn't help them. I was losing love for what I was doing because I needed to be
Yeah.
challenged because I was growing. So some clients I grew with and some clients I couldn't because that was their own limitations, or it was just where they were comfortable or where they were happy to be. And that's cool as well. So I think that really shifted things for me. And I was like, no, no, no. I really understand the value of where you position yourself, how you position yourself. So something that was my branding was I was bright pink. I'm working with dogs. I've got blonde hair. I've got big boobs. I'm
Little
on
Barbie girl.
right? And
Yeah.
everyone would say, oh, my social media, my social media. And I had a client refer to me and was like, oh, yeah, I was talking to, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, my social media girl said this. And I was like, my ego was a bit like, but also I was like, interesting because you want to be known for something and whatever you're known for is what people are reflecting back to you. And so when people were going, oh, the social media girl, I was like, okay, yeah, cool. That is a specialty in its own. I don't specifically specialize in that. I specialize in strategy, right? Across like all of marketing. So I'm helping you with strategy, making you more profitable, creating the demand, fixing the revenue, building leverage, all of that stuff. So I strategize in that section, not social
Think
media.
because strategy is such an unsexy thing to a lot of people. To me, it's sexy. To me, I'm like, oh, yes, like give me all the details, give me all the juice. But it's not as sexy as marketing. Like the way people see marketing or social media and all the buzzy stuff, the trendy stuff, the visual things, people like, but any good campaign that you see, any great marketing that you see in any way, like whether it's a billboard, whatever the way it's delivered, at the end of the day has some great strategy behind it that you don't see. And that's what I mean by not sexy. Like people don't realize the back end of work, especially when you are a small to medium business and you're not, it's different for a CEO of Fortune 500 to sit there and it's like, oh, just get this person to do this and this person, and they'll do the dirty work for you. But you don't have that privilege when you are majority of your business to
Yeah.
really understand all the hats. And that's why finding someone that can do that for you, whether they're teaching you to do it or whether they're doing it themselves, like is so important. And I just wish strategy was sexier. Like
I
I need
agree
it to
with
be sexy.
Yeah, because it actually makes your business feel a lot lighter when you have strategy. So I'm just going to say strategy. Let's just break it down for people that don't have like the marketing jargon, which is like it's basically planning out your business so you can take yourself from point A to point B. You know, without a plan, you're literally throwing things at a wall and hoping it sticks. Like you're just hoping. There's no actual plan of how to get from here to here. So without that, you make your business 20,000 times harder because you're always guessing. You're guessing what
Yes.
campaign to put out, what social media to put out. How do you even achieve your business's goals? And again, I'll break that down. How do you change from going to $10,000 a month to $20,000 a month? How do you do it from 20,000 to 30,000? You need a plan, right? You can't just wake up every day and feel lost in your business. And that's a lot of the weight that these business owners are carrying because they don't actually have any direction in their business. They just think that they post on social media, they do the job within their own business, like servicing or, selling on e-com or whatever it is. And they think that that's where it's at, or you just send an email, or there's no actual plan from, well, how do we take you from here to here to here to here? So a
When
lot.
you're doing like this and going everywhere, there's no way to actually really get the numbers to support your case and go, oh, that is actually working, or this isn't actually working. And I think a lot of people go, okay, even if they've been convinced and they're like, yes, no, I need strategy. Great. They jump into it and they don't realize there's still testing that has to go in within that. It's not just, okay, I can give you the best direction based on everything that I've personally learned, but it's not copy paste. So we do have to trial and error it, and that's okay. There has to be patience and understanding and all of these things. There's just not enough information about it, or at least it's not the baseline. The
Yeah,
baseline is I've got to go to ASIC and register my business name and got to get an ABN and a bank account. That's the basic knowledge. But like there's so much. Ah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It really is. And again, that's why I'm so passionate about what I do, is because a lot of people get a dog, get a cat, and it's like, let's start a business. And then they just wing it. And I see so many businesses closing down. And I also see so many people doing it harder than it needs to be. Like, business can be hard, but also if you just do the thing that you're avoiding to do half the time,
Yeah.
it actually becomes a lot easier. It's because we end up negotiating with ourselves. And that's why having a plan and having a mentor and someone that strategizes with you can keep you on track. Because again, coming back to the pet industry, we're very emotional beings, and that's not putting us down whatsoever. I mean, it's a fabulous thing. We need more empathetic, caring people in the world. So I'm proud to say that I'm the industry that has that. But because we are so emotional, we make emotional decisions. And that comes with business decisions around pricing and posting and sending the email and asking for the sale and all of that stuff. So having a strategy brings it back to reality and knowing your numbers, which you just said, which again, creatives hate doing. I get it. I'm there too. But knowing our numbers lets us make informed decisions rather than emotional decisions. Like, I can't charge that much. Okay, let's look at your numbers. Is that service actually profitable? I was working with a business trainer. I just had a retreat here with business owners in Bali, and I had a dog walk around, and she was making like $20 from her dog walks. And I was like, do you see how now you have a goal of, say, $20,000 for this month? Do you see how, like, just in one day, you're only making $100 from that service? So realistically, you're not going to be able to make that $20,000 without burnout.
Yeah.
When we break things down, and this is what a lot of business owners don't know because they jump into it from passion. And these are things that I can show them, because then it wasn't like, oh, but I can't charge that much. It's like, well, you actually have to, or you have to make a really hard emotional decision by not actually offering that service as a service if you want the business goal of $20,000 months.
Yeah.
So emotion, reality. And that's where I bring the two together. So
Yeah. No, that's incredible. I think it's you mentioned something as well before about having a mentor. And so I've actually never taken that path. Like I don't have a mentor. I'm just like blind leading the blind over here, right? And it's been coming up multiple times like maybe I should talk to someone because I feel like my business is scaling so fast, which is great. Like I'm seeing the results, but I'm like, now I actually need to do the opposite. I need to slow down. And that actually happens a lot as well. It's like the burnout phase is what I'm facing now, but I want to do less and earn more. Like that's the dream, right? And people that can, I mean, I could see it for other people. I can't see it for myself. And I'm not a marketing strategist. I'm a
Yeah.
brand strategist, completely
Yeah.
different things. But still, like the strategy I can apply to other people's business. I cannot do it for myself. And so when it comes to you, if someone is jumping into a pet business, right? Are you're full, like offering mentorship as well as strategy, or like what do you offer?
So I
Like,
combine the
how
two
can I
together.
take you, you know?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So I do group mentorship, right? So I will have a whole lot of business owners. They're all sitting at a certain level, and basically I mentor them. So I provide resources, templates, so they get things done quicker. We do the mentorship calls every single week. We work on their numbers. We have workshops. So I'm not only supporting them in a strategy sense, I'm also helping them, I guess, implement things as well, because I think it's a lot of people can get information. We've got Claude, we've got ChatGPT, we've got AI and things like that, but it's actually the implementation and then strategizing specifically for your business as well. So that's where I come in. So I do that in a group setting. We have the mentorship calls every single week. I also offer support, from like Monday to Friday within a group environment. I have a platform that we use, and all the resources and modules and training stuff is all in there. And then we do the calls every single week. So, and that has what has me, sorry, let me say that again. That's why to scale my business without burnout, because of my
Yeah.
business. So my business model
Yeah.
allows me to still have one-on-one time with people without the burnout of, back-to-back calls all day. Because again,
Yeah.
I had 3 calls yesterday and my brain was dead, because you have to use your brain and you have to be really present. And then you're switching up different problems as well within different businesses. So there's no way I could do that. And to be honest, I'm not a people person. I'm a dog person. I like to hide it away, and
So
I
true.
like to get things done behind a computer and isolate. Like, I spend 90% of my time on my own. And that's not saying I don't love interacting with my clients. I do. I love it, but I can only do it for bursts of time before I burnt out. So that's how I looked at my business model, and it was scalable because I can bring people into my program. It's a 6-month program, and I'm helping multiple people at once. So I'm making a bigger difference within the industry. It suits me and my personality. It also suits my business goals as well, and my financial goals. So they don't necessarily. They can still be implementing things, because there's the resources trainings that they don't need me attached to, that I can point them in the direction. They come back to me. I either review, or we discuss, or we support, or we challenge ways of thinking and things like that. And so it's still very, very manageable. And I'm sure as
Yeah.
my business continues to grow, that might look different in another year's time as well. So it's just, this is a message for other people listening as well, is your business model doesn't always have to stay the same. You grow, your business grows, things change.
I
So
think
don't,
people have a hard time understanding that fully and what that looks like until it's happened a few times. Like, I think we go into it going, I want to do this, so I'm going to do this and make, like, just wring it by the neck until there's nothing else left of it. But it's so important to go through the pivots, to go through the changes and grow with your business and be willing to. But going back to the program, I think as well, something that really I f- is underrated is the community aspect, and like being able to be on the journey with other people and not feeling so alone when so many of us are starting businesses by ourselves.
yeah,
And yeah, I think
yeah.
that's
So people
important.
can not just learn from me, but they can learn from one another that are at the same level, or either slightly above or slightly, like everyone can learn from everyone. And the cool thing is, so I hosted a retreat here with 10 businesses flew in from, the US and Australia. And it was so cool. And it was the community aspect, because they were all sitting around, because I did like a money making challenge, and they were
Uh-huh.
all sitting around, and it was so funny because there was a whole pattern in the room. And because they saw that pattern that they were experiencing within themselves, which is the maybe overthinking, overwhelm, struggling with the numbers, all of that stuff, being challenged, they weren't like, oh, I'm not bad at business. I'm actually normal, and this is a normal feeling, and this is a
Yeah.
normal thought, and I can relate to people. And so that feeling like you're part of something and you're not alone is such an incredible feeling, because we start to realize that we're actually giving ourselves a really fucking hard time a lot of the time.
Yes.
And we're going, we're
Worst
not good enough.
critics.
Nobody else
Absolutely.
does this, right? And we see it on social media. I mean, your social media looks absolutely divine, and you look like you just have your shit together and you're polished. And, I'm looking at this girl going, oh my God, I just
It's
want to
all a
be a
lie.
reality. I'm sure that you have stuff going on in your life that
So much
nobody knows
stuff.
about, or business struggles that you don't want to talk about. And, oh, am I good enough for this? Can I charge this price? Like
Yep.
all of this, like, how do I scale my business? Or, like, I want to give up, or why am I finding this so hard? And so even people like, we're sitting in our positions, even we go through that. So I think, coming back to, you said you don't have a mentor. Um, my mentor is more probably business, but I have a mindset coach. So even like having a mindset coach with a business coach, so I'm navigating my business, but then I'm navigating my mindset as well. So
Yeah.
I recommend both. And I know it can be an investment, and not everyone can
Of
afford
course. Of
that.
course.
Both
Yeah.
are expensive, but I think even it has allowed me to grow my business substantially. So it's been an investment. That is for sure, that I've seen a return on, because my mindset, like, I've had a lot of mental health struggles throughout my whole entire life. That's why I gravitate towards animals, because I find comfort in them over humans.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, yeah, working on my mindset has definitely helped grow my business. But yeah, I think mentors, having a mentor, having someone in your corner just to bounce ideas off, and come together as a community is really cool. So a lot of people actually like that one-on-one mentorship, where I'm like, actually, I like the group aspect, because
Yeah.
I can learn from others, and I can also find my tribe, because owning a business is really lonely. Even though I'm not a people person,
Absolutely.
it's really lonely.
Yeah.
Like, I can
Yeah.
have my biggest cash month ever in my business. I have no one to celebrate with, because if I tell my friends or my family, it's like I feel like I'm bragging, or they think I'm bragging.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's like, oh, shut up, we don't really hear about it. Or I get a reaction, it's like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, then it's not the reaction that I was hoping for, because I want to celebrate. I'm like, I'm so proud
I
of myself. I
think,
worked so hard for that. But you can tell
yeah,
your business that.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, like, we've mentioned that people's ears are going to bleed because of how much we've mentioned, like, the tall poppy syndrome on this
Oh, yeah.
podcast in Australia specifically. And just like, yeah, your friends can love you to bits, but they're never going to understand. They're never going to be your biggest champions, unless it's like your bestest best friend. That's a different story, because I got me one of those. But, just, I feel like, yeah, you don't want to overwhelm the people around you, the people who love you and care for you unconditionally, with all this information that is just like business, because that's what your head leads with. Like, I don't know about you, but my head's like always about my business. I'm sitting watching a show and I'm like, oh, how will this impact my business? So I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. The community is so important. I used to run women's circles, so I know how having that community is so important, and knowing that you're not alone in the process, and that your thoughts are quite normal, because it's likely we've all had them, but it can be very isolating. I think that's the perfect word to explain, like, because you're not alone, like, you've got people around you, but it's isolating because you're like, oh, I'm just doing completely different things than what you're doing, not in a good way, not in a bad way, just we can't relate on this topic, and I don't know who to talk to. But I think I really do have to look into something like that. I mean, I'm part of a group right now that, we kind of chat like that, which is great. But I think having it more of a mentorship program of sorts, because, yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm bragging. I don't want to feel like, all of those. So, okay, did you have a moment I'm sure maybe you've had many, but one that really sticks out where you felt like it was a setback, but you were able to kind of turn things around and something good came out of it?
Yeah, good question. There's two, one recently and then one when I first started my business. And it's not necessarily, it has something to do with my business, but it's not, it relates to how I started my business. So, and this is for people that feel like they're starting over. I mean, I'm 39 now, but I started over at 35. And again, because I had mental health challenges, uh, I, I always loved entrepreneurship and I wanted to do something along those lines, but my mental health always sabotaged me. And so this is business and not business. And then I'll tell you another one. But I started to share earlier, which was because I had all these mental health problems and then I'd kind of lost everything. Sorry, I won't say lost absolutely everything, but I lost my business the first time. I then met my fiance at the time. We were together a couple of years, got engaged 3 months before the wedding. He literally like called it off and dropped me off. I had a breakdown one night. I went to hospital, all of the sedation stuff and whatever. He picked me up, dropped me off at my mum's, and that was the last time I saw him. And so that I had no money in the bank. He'd been supporting us. He was a great guy, so not talking him down whatsoever, but I had no money in my bank because he'd been supporting me because I'd been made redundant, but without a payout because I'd only been there less than 6 months. My dog died in the same week. I also got COVID. I was 35 back at my mother's house on a blow up mattress. Like it was humiliating and I had nothing. And I was like, nobody's coming to save me. Nobody is coming to save me. And so that's how my business was born. So I just want to share that if you're in a business struggle at the moment where you feel like you need to pivot your business or you're just starting out or you're growing and but you feel like everything's kind of falling apart, just remember some of the hardest times provide you with a trampoline. So because of all of this and literally like I was suicide, like I was so bad, so bad. It was horrible. But my business wouldn't have been born and I wouldn't live in Bali. I wouldn't have money in the bank that I didn't think of. I wouldn't have been able to help as many people as I can and also donate to rescues and
I'm
send
so
money to my.
sorry.
No, you're right.
It's my turn.
Bless
Just
you.
dying.
You're dying over there.
Something went somewhere. Yes,
You look,
you wouldn't have.
you
I'm
look
so
quickly
sorry.
on that.
Jesus. Whew.
No, that's all
Okay.
right. Yeah, so that's my first business lesson is it's not even like before I even started my business is that your lowest points either in business or your personal can actually provide a trampoline. So when you're down here, just see it as a really cool opportunity to reset your whole entire fucking life, right? So that's the first one. And then the second one actually happened last year where I started attracting clients that weren't fully aligned. And I worked with them because I wanted to genuinely help them. But because when you attract the wrong client and they either don't show up or they say nothing's working or like they're just not doing the work that's required to own a business and to grow. And when I don't get results from my clients, well, I don't have a business, right? So I work and it all kind of happened at the same time, which is obviously I have to own that as well because I'm attracting these people through my
Yeah,
business, right? And
absolutely.
I'd outgrown this. Yeah. And so I was struggling mentally and I was like, I'm not good enough. I'm going to lose my business. I actually don't want to sign any clients. So then I stopped taking clients for 3 months because I was like in this crossroads of like, what do I do? This has been so successful the past 2 years, but now I'm attracting these people. I'm not fulfilled anymore. I'm not passionate. I'm not getting the results because people aren't showing up and doing the work. And it's like, it was just all this like, what do I do? And panic set in. And I was like, what do I do? Like, what do I actually do? So for 3 months, I honestly felt like I was losing my business because I had made the decision. I wasn't taking on clients, but then because I'm so close to my own business, I was like, but what comes next? Because my
Yeah.
identity was attached to this. And then to go from these people over here to a completely different market requires updating my branding, updating my positioning, updating my message. Like it's a lot. So I stayed stuck for a good 3 months on like, how do I move from Tatum over here to Tatum over here, which is a new standard, new version, new level, new like, and I'm so excited by this, but it requires a transitional period. So I want people to realize that it happens in every business, right?
Yeah.
I just thought
Like
I was,
literally word for word, like almost what you, so 3 months, so August, September, October last year, I went down from everything down to $700 in my bank account. Like everything was gone.
yeah,
There was nothing. The pivot, and that's the thing. You nailed it. Absolutely. It's the pivot of being able to let go of the people you no longer align with and being okay to move into this new space, but also being able to recognize that that's what's happening, and not,
yeah,
buying into the pressures of it, because that's easy to lose yourself and just like give up and just, but it's like just that crucial, if you can, it's like the last test, right? If that crucial thing, if you can overcome that, there's a rainbow to catch up to. And
really,
yeah, that's how it feels. So it's like when you were saying this, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Exactly
yeah,
this. Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where the emotional resiliency comes in as well, and self-belief. So a lot of the time business isn't about business itself. It's about the mindset and our limiting belief. So I'm a big Tony Robbins and, motivational kind of speaker
Yeah. I'm a
stuff.
woo-woo girl. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
we
energy,
all that wrong.
numerology, all this.
Yeah. So I think if you can understand that just because you're feeling that way doesn't mean that it's wrong or you can't do it. It's just an opportunity. And you do have to take a step back, and that hits the ego and that hits you financially, and it feels really shit. But what got you to where you are and is going to get you to that next level, which however you want to measure that, I'll say financially, what got me to 20,000 isn't going to get like a month, isn't going to get me to 50,000. I'm going to need a whole new mindset for that. So this opportunity of everything crumbling and self-doubt and all of that stuff, but getting up and still moving forward, have your moment, rest. We both had 3 months. Literally
Literally.
both 3 months. But you come back and you use it as a trampoline. And I'm a whole different person. I have hold bigger boundaries now. I have different standards for the clients that I work with. I communicate those standards so we're all on the same the page. Like I just have different business goals as well. And I think a lot of the time the guilt, as well as I'm not good enough, or this is going to require a new level of myself as well. We
Yes.
also don't want to let down our current clients, which really hurts because we genuinely value them, right? And it's not that we don't want to work with them anymore. It's just like I feel like my calling's different sometimes. Like
Can I
it's
ask, in all honesty, did your heart do the drop when you had to, like, I remember first having to email a client after this big transition had happened, going, oh, my prices have now changed. But like, I'm not talking about, there may be like $100 more. I'm talking, we've gone from $500 to $10,000. Do you fit in this new demographic? Not in those words, but how did that feel? Like, did you have to do that? Did you have that moment of, yeah,
actually because of the program, I didn't renew a lot of people. And there's people I've kept in the program that I have renewed. So I'm still working with a selective group of people. But in the new program, my prices are definitely different. But then also I'm targeting a different audience because they have to have a certain level of income,
yeah,
become more affordable, where some of the other
of
businesses
course.
wouldn't be able to afford me. So thankfully, I actually, no, I've had two clients come over into the new program with the different pricing, and that's actually, I was never challenged whatsoever, which is awesome because
Okay,
they already know,
perfect.
they've experienced the value, but also
Yeah,
they are the ones earning more. So no, thankfully I didn't. But I think when you're doing that for a lot of people, because again, this is something that I'm teaching in, like I didn't have to do it on this particular occasion, thankfully,
yes, yeah, of course.
because I just created something new, which then this was like the price. So I didn't actually raise the prices in the current program. I just stopped.
Okay, okay,
I
yeah,
didn't renew people that I didn't think fit that particular program. So, but when it comes to raising prices, I think if you position it in a way where you're upgrading them. So this is an upgrade and not saying, oh, prices have increased and the
Yeah.
electricity is increased, because you're putting that burden, you're putting that burden on the client or the customer, and they're like,
Yeah.
it's not my problem. You run the business, and it shouldn't be their problem.
That's
So
true.
how can you position the price increase to add value and to be seen as an upgrade, right? Are you bringing AI into your business so they're actually going to get, things delivered faster, or are they going to, have a platform that they can do everything automatically rather than manually? What
Yeah.
is it? How are you upgrading your
Like, I
services?
think, yeah, how are you adding value without it feeling, like such a quite a huge leap or jump for them to make? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So how does it make their lives easier, better? How do they get better results sooner? Like, just collapse everything and be like, well, what's the upgrade here? How's it going to upgrade their life and the way that they're doing it? Like, do they spend 3 hours having to onboard at the moment? Or I know some of the meta ads, business owners, it can take like a month for their onboarding, and that's like a month of missed revenue. So if you can position it as like, well, actually, we're now charging $10,000 a month because the onboarding process actually allows us to, you to start seeing a return on your investment within 3 days. That's a total upgrade, and people will absolutely pay for that. Is it a quicker service delivery? Because you don't also have to always include more. It's just like, how can you
Yeah.
strengthen the processes or get quicker results or things like that? So that's something. Value doesn't always have to be an exchange.
I
Is
think,
it
yeah,
digital?
you hit it on the head as well. Like, it's strategic communication as well, right? Like, that comes into it. So, like, I was sitting there, I remember I was just like completely like, okay, what had happened? I had clients come back for new projects, right? So not the same project, but they would ask for, XYZ, whatever, and I would put together a proposal. Now, that's something that I didn't even used to do. Like, I didn't even put together a proposal. I'd send them an invoice and be like, this is how much it is, right? So that alone, I feel like helped me convert them. What surprised me the most is kind of like what you're saying, is that like you had people just transfer over with no problem. But that fear, that initial like, oh my God, I'm actually going to do this, but they already know me. They don't know this new girl who I'm becoming or I am. And it's like such a hard transition to make emotionally. And again, it falls into what you were saying. Like, we run our businesses sometimes too emotionally. And that's where the business side has to jump in and go, actually, no, that's totally fine. And you rip off the Band-Aid to get it done the way it's supposed to be done, rather than, oh, but I feel bad. Or also assuming what people can afford can be so detrimental to your business. The assumption, like, how dare you? The audacity of us going, oh, you don't look like you can afford me. Like, who are we to judge? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. 100%. And that was something that I learned in my business, was because I hear it a lot. Oh, I can't charge that much for my clients, right? And it might be a $1,500 dog training package, or, 2,500. And it's like, oh, nobody's going to pay that. And then I'm like, well, you know the price of me. And probably 60 to 70% of people pay in full with me. Because I also have payment plans, right? I obviously, it's a little bit higher for payment plans, so people choose to pay up front. But that means that people have money. It's just that they're more selective on what they're spending it on these days.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how do we communicate how it actually benefits them? So the clients that crossed over into my new program, uh, they had her they had reached a certain level where they needed different problems being solved. And a lot were around, they were like fully booked, but they just weren't fully profitable, right? And they
Yeah.
were getting burnt out. So the current program didn't really the old program didn't really address the profitability. It was like, how do you like email marketing and social media and website, and like there was like, it was an array of things, where the new group, it's more strategic, it's more about profitability, fixing their revenue and things like that, and just being more strategic about things. So when I was like, hey, I think this is actually going to better suit you because this is where you're at now, these are your
Yeah.
current issues, this is going to
So you're
stop this.
growing with your audience.
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah. Some people I was.
Yeah.
The people that were doing the work definitely have grown with me. 100%,
Yeah.
100%.
That's
They're
so
locked in.
good.
So when I communicated, well, okay, this is where you're at now. This is where you want to go. You've reached a roadblock here. This is what that program solves. So they were like, oh, okay, no worries. And they didn't
There's no problem.
flinch at the,
Yeah.
like, it was like, okay, cool. No worries. No worries. So I think when you, uh, people are like, oh, I love my loyal clients. And it's like, yeah, people are only loyal until it doesn't suit them, by the way. So,
Yes.
if it was like, oh, I'm so loyal to you, then they're going to be like, okay, if I have it within my budget, then I'm gonna happily, stay
Yeah.
on with you if it means
Yeah,
a
I
price
think
difference.
value is a big one. Like, I think if people, loyalty, it does come and go. Like, we use that word too often. It's so lightly used. It's like, I don't think I'm loyal to anyone other than my husband, like to that level. Like, loyalty is a strong word to use for a business transaction. You could absolutely love the journey but I might say something wrong that completely turns you off one day. And that's okay too. Like, we don't have to align on everything. But
No.
I think, like, yeah, from what it sounds like, is the value is probably the most important thing, right? If you can, I don't want to say prove your worth, but that's technically what it is, right? Like, you've proven, you've done the hard yards, and I think it's okay to say, no, I've actually done the work to prove what I am right now, and having those boundaries and setting those and being comfortable with that transition, though it was not friendly for me. For me, it was like, oh, whirlwind of emotions. Like, where am I? Fish out of water. That really was what it was like. But
Yeah.
now, just feeling so confident in where I sit, and I never would have thought to do a podcast. Like, this was not a thing that just little things like that, putting myself out there, really showing up for my business. Like, I should have, but you can't, like, look back and say, oh, should have, could have, would have. But you just move forward, you grow, and you've got to be willing to put that in, because it really is. And even that pivot point that we were talking about, the 3 months, that could happen again, because it's setting us up for the next time. And that's okay. Like, it's just, that's the cycle, and you get used to it.
Yeah.
And business is a funny thing. And they keep saying, I think, like, the most trending thing that I keep hearing is that if you want to, develop you as a human being, start a business, don't go to therapy. Like, that's, it'll change you in ways you didn't even know you wanted or needed to be changed. And it's
Yeah.
brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. Your business, I've heard that one too. And your business can only go as far as you're willing to take it. And if you're stuck, the old version of you who doesn't take risks, who doesn't set boundaries, who bleeds their time, who says yes to everything, do you think that person's going to be able to hold $100,000 a month business? Absolutely not, because they're leaking energy, they're leaking time, they're leaking resources. So that, if you think of it that way, is like you need to grow as a person. It requires self-growth. So that's the uncomfortable, because you never were able to ride a bike, right? You had to learn a bike. You fell off a million
Yep.
times. Training wheels, then the training wheels came off, and then you were still 12 and you were riding around the streets, and you'd come off your handlebars and you'd go crying with all your grazes back to your mum. Like, but now you can ride a bike. I mean, I haven't ridden a bike in years, so I've been
It
a bit
hurts my
wobbly.
ass. I'm not into it, but it's fine.
Yeah. It became second nature, right? Same with like spelling a word like dog, D-O-G. I couldn't spell it at one stage of my life, and now I can. And it's like, I don't even have to think about it. So, but it wasn't easy to learn those things. It required self-development and you to grow and build confidence on, maintaining the bike, or being confident in spelling something, or learning how to sound it out. And that was, if we go back to when we were children, we didn't get to adults by not learning. It's just that at adults, we're harder on ourselves. So when we feel resistance, we're like, oh, we're not built for this. Danger, danger, danger. Whereas kids, we're a little bit more enthusiastic. We're a bit more resilient. We get knocked down and we're like,
Yeah.
because we don't know what people think.
I mean, to a
Maybe that.
certain degree. Yeah, yeah,
To a
yeah. I
certain degree,
totally get what you mean.
we're more flexible. We bounce back
Yes.
a little bit easier, right? But also, yeah. So I just think when you're transitioning from one part of your business to another, just because it's hard, it doesn't mean that it's wrong or you're not capable. Like, yeah.
I think that's why having conversations like this is super important, to really put things into perspective, for especially when people are jumping into business for the very first time, or you know, because it's very easy to take things at surface value and watch these reels of people so put together, and they've got every word down pat and they're just amazing. And we're just like soaking it all up, eating it all up. And it's like, oh, I want to be like that person. And it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great to have a vision of who you want to be. But the back end of it, every single time I've spoken to some of my favorite creators because of this podcast, they've time and time again been like, you should see my drafts, you should see my folder, you should see, all the suffering that happens behind the scenes, that it's okay. Like, it's important to know that you're A, not alone, B, you'll get there. What you need more than anything, I think, is resilience.
Yep.
Being willing. That's it. And then
Yep.
see what happens.
And something that I've reframed, which has really helped me. So when I screw up in my business, or, I've put in a call at the wrong time, or an onboarding hasn't been completely smooth, look at problems and moments of screw ups, right? Or mistakes or whatever it is. Look at them, reposition them as moments, like opportunities of growth and learning. So something happened in an onboarding yesterday and it didn't go completely smooth. And rather than beating myself up going, oh my God, I'm for this, and I look like an idiot, it was like, okay, apologized in the moment. And now I was like, already, I'm like, okay, so how can I make this better? How can I make this smoother? How can I ensure that that doesn't happen? Because you don't build a great business overnight. It's like you're constantly refining it. So the
Absolutely.
moment like, oh my God, I screwed this up, or I did this, or you're waiting to feel ready. No. How do you learn? By getting thrown underneath the bus a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
it's a
then you learn
hard
the
lesson to learn,
right.
and you just exactly. Exactly. No, it's been so good to talk to you. And ever since, I mean, it was just surprising that what you did was so niche, because the way I found you was videos and videos just like talking business. And I'm like, oh, I can relate to this too. And I had no idea until actually going to your page and following that it was like all about pets. And I love the way that you can transition those two, because a lot of it is applicable. So for anyone listening to this, don't think, oh, I'm not a pet business, I'm not going to relate. No, her content is fantastic. She's always got something to say. And yeah, I would absolutely implore anyone to check out what you do, because you do it so well. No,
Oh,
you
thank
are very welcome. And I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our listeners, of course, for listening and watching and doing your thing. Is there anything else you would like to say?
No, just thank you so much for having me, and thank you for providing a platform for women to connect on and also share their stories. I know, especially for my industry, with my audience listening to this, I feel like it's going to really hit home, but also it's spreading awareness into other industries as well. So thank you just for being able to have this platform for me to be able to share, the stats around the pet industry, and yeah, just in general, like the self-belief, the pivoting, like all of the mindset stuff. So thank you so much for having
Yes.
me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And goodbye, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being here. This was Without a Brief, a Red Bow House podcast. To explore the agency, apply to be a guest, or listen to more episodes, visit redbowhouse.com.